Thank you, Lord, for all you have done. If I don't thank you, I would be so ungrateful. Tato efemo, tato nyeso, thank you, Lord, for all you have done. If I don't thank you, I will be so ungrateful. Thank you, Jesus. Holy Kanyo. Tato. 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 Kanyo Warrior. Apart from you, there is no other God. Every other God was so counterfeit. I tried to fill me. I tried every other God, and they all let me down. Yeah, I'll say I should give something for something. Let me love on the sacrifice before they can bless me. What since I met you, you never asked me for a dime. You keep on showering your blessings all over me. If I don't praise you, if I don't worship you, what's that much to pay? You can't make that up I don't. Yes, I don't. Tato. Tato. Kanyo Warrior. Tato. Hey, Tato. 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 Kanyo Warrior. You are light. You are my light. Daddy, you uphold my trust. You are my strong. You are my defender. You are my provider. Everything now you. If I don't praise you, who else would I praise? If I don't worship you, who else would I worship? Hey, what's the matter to pay? You buy all let me tato peba. Tato, 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 tato. Yes, I want my fire warrior. If I don't praise you, who else would I praise? If I don't worship you, who else would I worship? Hey, what's the matter to pay? You can't let me tato peba. Tato, 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 tato. Yes, I want my fire warrior. Tato, efemo. Tato. For all you have done. Hey, Tato. I need to pay to you. Tato. You are the great God. Tato. Kanyo Warrior. Tato, yes, Tato. Oneikeh Jones. Hey, Tato. You are the great Tato. Tato. Kanyo Warrior. Tato, yes, Tato. Kanyo Warrior. Hey, Tato. Yes, Tato. Nothing I can take about. Kanyo Warrior.
All right. All right. That's a beautiful song. This is how we want to introduce the program here this evening. It's 8:05 Eastern Standard Time from the New England Bureau. So we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing this beautiful Sunday, wherever you are here in the US, Liberia, Europe, Australia, on the planet Earth. We want to say welcome to all our viewers and listeners. Jacob, Robert, Tamagi, Mami Kamara, Henry Tamba, and of course, our prantant listeners and viewers to Marie, good evening. I hope you're doing great this Sunday. Martin Davis, Rita, Emmanuel, and the list goes on. So we'll try to give recognition to our viewers and listeners. That's a beautiful gospel song there from Liberian artist based in the UK. That's the United Kingdom. Abinant, the minister Abinant Johnson. By the way, you can go on YouTube and I also give subscribe. This is how our primary goal here is to showcase the good things, the quality and beauty of Liberia as well. So is LPR major goal here to give spotlight to our artists and those that are making meaningful contributions. I want to welcome you this evening. Today is Sunday, and as usual, is your informative news magazine, Freedom Watch. And I'm Afonso Zienso right here at your ankle this evening. Thank you for sharing your evening time with me. It is important without you we can't do what we are doing. So if you are not around, if you are not available, it makes it very difficult for us to start this conversation. And so it is important that we really appreciate your time. In this regard, this is how we want to say it. Welcome and thank you for sharing the evening with us.
I just want to thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to say thank you to CC coming on board, and of course our man Mikey. Good evening, and welcome to this talking point. Okay, as usual, we always like to take you a little bit survey or review on some of the news making headlines, not just in Liberia, but also to keep you abreast with what is happening in neighboring countries, the continent Africa as a whole. So let's do a quick review here and see some of the top news making headlines in Africa. The Military Council in Chad, you remember a week ago, Chad President long-term serving former rebel leader turned turned to be the president, Eric Deby. You remember he died the other day. Chad Military Council names transitional government. Debits 37-year-old son Hement, who took the helm of the so-called Transitional Military Council, called CMT, named on Sunday 40 ministers and deputies. The new ministry is to be headed by Achi Abu Uman, a former rebel chief who became a diplomatic advisor to the presidency in 2019, is on top of the seat. The Federal Republic of Nigeria to restrict visitors from India to Brazil to Turkey over COVID. Tunisia is to seek $4 billion to loan from IMF. The Prime Minister of Tunisia says, starting next week, Prime Minister Hishmet Mishiku told Reuters news agency, saying politicians faced the last opportunity to save the economy. Politicians faced a last opportunity to save the economy of the state. That's a very key word. It means he himself is also involved. Okay, back to Nigeria. 3 members of the robbery gang have been killed by operatives attached to the Ebonian State Police Command. The persons were part of the group armament responsible for a foiled rebel on the commercial bank of Conant area on the state on Tuesday last week. That was an aggressive move by the authority in the state. So that's why it's happening. Just bear with me. Trying to get some messages going here. Just bear with me, please. Okay. Yeah, so those are the major news making headlines across Africa and other parts of the world. And I'm Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. Let's get started right here, right now. All right, let's take this quick commercial commitment and I will be right back. You know, anything coming out of Liberia is to my heart. I'm so much attached to it.
Katwae! What does it mean to be a woman? A black woman, an African woman, a Liberian woman?
To be a Liberian woman is Jiglunu, which means remember. Remember that you are strong because of your experiences and to always be true to who you are. Yakama Jiglunu. Panife Menugaga Nyenyengu Sui. Yawega Kolilai.
So I'm Alice Johnson Hinnah, and I'm going to talk to you on failing and not giving up.
Mwanjama jaweyo, mwanjama iyanjaweyo, mwanjama jaweyo, mwanjama. Kake Liberia Musofindi, wole wudin. Ka Anna Talifo, Maliate. Being a Liberian woman means telling our story, our own story with no apologies and authentically.
She brave. Oh, baby.
Farafi muso ekolo eminere. Labia muso ekolo eminere. Muso lojan.
You are beautiful. Liberians, we have a unique culture, good food, beautiful clothing, music, marriages, languages, how we sit at the table, how we greet our elders. Let's keep our culture alive. To my fellow Liberian women out there, I want to encourage you today. Know that you are beautiful, you are strong, you are brave, you are intelligent. Stop holding back. Stand up and be a part of history making. And to my Liberian Canadian women, I encourage you to join the team. Join the team, bring your ideas, and we will merge our ideas into a very big one and use it to impact other women all over the world. I want to send a message out to the ladies too that participated in this unique occasion. Thank you so much. Your bold step has sent out a powerful message out there to all women.
Okay, time is fast spent. It's 8:15 Eastern Standard Time right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. I am Alfonso Zienso, anchoring this program as usual, Freedom Watch. We want to welcome you to our team of contributors and analysts standing by. We're going to be bringing them in from Maryland to Baltimore. Is Professor Asese Labor is the executive director of the Gideon Polytechnic Schools in Liberia, giving back to the community. And of course, our own man Amos George is also there, standing by in Atlanta, Georgia, making up the best political team and commentators around here. So I want to welcome and recognize the Honorable Superintendent of Grand Jetta County, Honorable Kai Fale, is here with us this evening, chilling, watching, monitoring from the motherland, from Zulu Westgate, the time of Zuedru ASAP. Honorable William Congley, former representative, all here, the big names in the politics of Liberia. And of course, our man Samuel Chia Jackson right here in neighboring Massachusetts, Dexter, Dennis, Person Nellies, and all of you. Welcome. Let's keep the ball rolling. We're going to ask some controversial or some critical question here. And our team of analysts and you, our viewer, will also participate. Let me bring in Amos George. I don't know how you're going to play out here. Professor Tai, good evening and welcome. How was the Sunday? Amos George from Atlanta City, AT. Good evening, guys. How are you doing today?
We are doing great. Good evening, Mr. So. Thanks for again for.
I'm great.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, good to see you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. The Liberia is on the run. Again, you are here, but when you are absent, then the Liberia become a town crier from Totown Grand Jetta County. He wants to build state in state, and I defy him. The link is all out there to him. Okay, let's start on this note. Professor, how was your Sunday?
It was great. It was great. Everything went well. Went to church. From there, got to do some regular thing we do, teaching around, and so yeah, it's been great.
You never get tired. You're always involved in community initiative.
Well, that's what we are supposed to be doing. You know, we got a lot of things from our community, so we need to give back.
Okay. I see Amos George is smiling with that, but I don't know how long that smile got to go when we really get into the real conversations. It's going to be a little bit. Okay, so Mr. George, how was your Sunday as well?
Oh, it was great.
For some reason, I'm not seeing you. I don't know. Is it just me or?
You're not seeing me, you said?
I'm not seeing Mr. George.
He's starting already. So let me get him up and see what are you going to see him here. Okay, let me bring him back here. Amos George, are you here with all or are you in Bond County this evening?
No, I gone to Sino.
Okay, now I think he's appearing. Maybe it's my system here. He's appearing.
Why you jump over to Nima, Grand Jetta, and you go into Sano to do what? Do you have ties with Sano County?
Yeah, I got ties with Sano.
Professor, that's my first time hearing this though.
You know, he wants to trap the president. The president is supposed to be going there next, right?
Okay, yeah. I think he's on the convoy of the president now, so I see the reason.
I know.
Okay, why you don't want him on board?
No, we welcome everybody. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, guys, let's get it going here. Actually, there was some miscommunication. The Liberians that were released in Ivory Coast, it will be tomorrow. Actually, it will be today, but for some reason, there was a miscommunication. So we're still going to have them. But in the midst of that, we still have to fit in the gap. And I'm putting this sort of rhetorical question out there. And I need an honest answer from you, Professor, and that of Amos George. We're going to look at a wide range of issues, but we're going to put specific emphasis. The political parties in Liberia, all the rulings, the opposition, the imposition, the outside the fence position, are they on message? Why can't we know this time? 2023 is right around the corner. I'm not seeing major policy speech being put out there. All I'm saying here, people turning and making these sort of inconclusive speeches, taking a little shot as usual politician here. But are the political parties in Liberia, are they on message? How the compositions of this team? We have the CPP, the Rainbow Coalition, of course, the ruling establishment. Can we try to figure out here the composition? Who's going to be on top in here? Okay, joining us now is our foreign affairs analyst, is based in Canada. And he's the president of the Liberian Community, executive director to Empowerment Squared. Mr. Leo Johnson is here with us as well. Mr. Johnson, welcome. So I'm concerned. I don't know, these political parties in Liberia, are they a message? Or are we just wasting our time and breath and we are not hearing what we're supposed to hear from them? And if we are not hearing from them, why can't we ask them? Why their supporters can ask them? Is it a popularity contest we are about to enter again? Let me start with the guy, Professor Asese Labo Zalo. Professor, are we hearing from the political parties? Are they on message? Are they honest with the Liberians?
Well, I won't judge them. I won't say whether they are honest or dishonest. I know they are. I mean, the CPP is having series of discussions with the intent to actually decide on their ticket. They are trying to have those issues resolved.
That's unusual. Why are you jumping way ahead to CPP? I thought you were going to start in-house.
No, so that's the first thing I would say. I'll talk about the CPP. Then I know the other political party. I see Dr. Cassell. He launched his campaign. He's going around preaching and telling the people that, what he's going to do for them. He has the money. He's going to buy the presidency. That's his message. I wish him well. Like I said, the CPP, they have two basic currents, right, within the CPP right now. You have the Joseph Boycott side, and you have the Alexander Cummings side, and they are juggling for space. Boycott is preaching the message that he's experienced, got over 40 years of experience that he thinks he can offer Liberian people.
He's taking a powerful Hillary Rodham Clinton experience and experience. And at the end of the day, we saw the war being crumble experience. Ooh.
And then
starting trouble this evening.
Thomas is speaking about international exposure, international connections. We had President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf who talked about international connections. I don't think they failed her, but they didn't benefit Liberian people.
Is that a Coca-Cola guy you're talking about?
Yeah. Obviously, you have this. You have the Congress for Democratic Change. I think we've been on message from day one that we are a party of the ordinary people. Our goal is to move more people from below the poverty line than has ever been done in the history of Liberia. We have hit some of our targets, and some of our targets have proven to be challenging for us to accomplish. But we remain resolved that at the end of the day, that what we set to achieve, we achieve. And Liberian people understand. They understand that even amidst all the challenges we've endured, the government has been able to accomplish a lot. Could we have done better? Yes. And so I think the lines have been drawn, and Liberian people, know who is who and where everything is going to go. So yeah, I'm just excited about the 2023. I think it's going to be a very interesting political season.
Okay. Let me go to because Pat George, he gave the laughter that he gave here. So let me start with him. Amos George, this is unusual. The professor took bottom to top approach, started with the CPP, the CASE, and then his flight landed with his own party that they are on message. Whether it's 100%, of course, he said no, but they are getting there. What is it, Professor? What is the contrast is he putting out here this evening?
Mr. So let me start from the bottom to top.
Oh, you're joining his footstep from bottom to top as well.
No, he started from at the top.
No, he started from bottom to top. He started from CPP. Of course, the top is the ruling establishment. So
but then let me burst around. I will start from the top.
Oh.
Let me go the opposite. Professor spoke about lifting people from poverty, moving the people from desperation to that level. But I find it difficult to understand. President, we are doing a campaign. He said they were going to lift 1 million people out of poverty in the first 6 years. We are gone 3 years. There's no data to show how many people that the city government has lifted out of poverty. No data. Today, the CDC government cannot show you any data how many private sector jobs they have created since they came to power. They came with salary harmonization. They reduced people's salaries across the board. The very people they say they're going to live out of poverty, they reduce their salaries. I get this thing that CDC said they are doing well. But the question I always ask is the bread and butter issue. It's good to build road, it's good to build clinic, but when people cannot find job to do, the economic, the tangible, the variables, when your life has not been changed. Say for instance, you used to eat 2 cups of rice, and this time you eat 1.5 cups of rice. How can you say that you have lifted that person or moving that person from that poverty level to
the intro? We're going to get to the details. Let's just get the news beat here. Nothing has changed. Let me go to Canada here and see if we're going to neutralize this conversation. He took the other side. He first joined with Professor Zaulo. What happened down the road? The flight decided to pivot and say, no, I'm picking up from Georgia. This guy is in Maryland. But the 2 of them were very much successful. They did not talk. Oh, no, Professor said they were on message. I didn't hear that from Amos Joyce. So, President Leo, let me just bring you in here. Are these political parties in Liberia, are they doing enough? Are we hearing from them? The messaging, the tone, how to get the economy running, going. But it's just a waste of time here. We come here, we talk, we discuss, and everybody had their own a little soundbite to preach. You listen to the 2 men. Who is on the wrong side of history?
First of all, I'll start with the government, because they say to him or her whom much is given, much is required. So we've given the CDC government a lot by electing the CDC government to power to lead our nation. So I'll start from there. I'm not so sure if people in the CDC ever read the Purple Agenda for Development and Prosperity. So I took my time, 2 weeks. I read every single page of it. I didn't miss a paragraph. Because for me, I like to hold people accountable by what they commit to. And I would say, I'm not even sure government ministers in President We Are Government even know what the measurement indicators of the Purple Agenda for Prosperity and Development is. Because if they knew it, they wouldn't be wasting their time on social media 24/7 trying to defend the president. If they knew it, they wouldn't be wasting their time all around the place to try and follow the president. Everywhere the president passed, all of them want to show up. They would have been focused on organizing their various ministries in a way to achieve the president's goals as spelled out in the Purple Agenda. Let me just say this quickly. First of all, they said they were going to provide greater income security to additional 1 million Liberians and reduce poverty across 5 out of 6 regions in Liberia. Now, when your boss makes that kind of statement, you in the various ministry, that is a marching orders to say whatever you got to do in agriculture, whatever you got to do in education, whatever you got to do in the various sectors, you better come back to me and tell me how we're going to live the Liberia. So in my opinion, the CDC government is unfortunate, I think, has no measurement barometer or indicators for the Purple Agenda. In fact, I don't even think it's a document that they are using by any means to guide their decision. It's a beautiful crafted document. The opposition, I would say, in my opinion, the opposition is asking us to give them power. They are promising to do things that they cannot prove they can do. Look, Mr. Soul, if you can build institutions, you're building now while you're in your political party. The opposition cannot even tell us what their membership is. The opposition cannot even show us a financial report for their entire existence. Nobody knows how they get their money. Nobody knows how they actually spend it. It's like voodoo economics. How do we know where the money is coming from? How do we know how much money to spend? So how can you tell us you want to get to power where you'll be doing budget performance reports when you cannot do a budget for your small political party and produce financial reports? So in my opinion, we need to shift the conversation to a place where we are putting them on the sword to answer the right questions and stop giving us this popularity contest of who have more people or not.
Okay. I told you you're going to be at they're going to neutralize it. So here is the deal, Professor Evans Joyce. There's a big slam dunk coming from Canada there, going to the ruling establishment and that of the oppositions. Professor, you want to draw the contrast?
Well, it's easy to make allegations of the incompetence or inability of people to do to review and look at something. Here's what I would correct Mr. Johnson. No, you are wrong that the officials of the government of the CDC, official CDC-led government are not occurring with the proper agenda. They are fully occurring with the proper agenda. And I think every day they use it as an instrument to monitor where they are and where they are going. I've indicated earlier that there are challenges. There are challenges that we face as a government, and some of our earlier estimates of the situation were incorrect. But that doesn't mean that we failed. And because some of those estimates were incorrect, we're a little bit too optimistic about our ability to achieve certain things. But we do in society.
What would be the example of that size to achieve certain things? What some of the things?
There's so many things. There were things that we hope to have accomplished at this time that we didn't accomplish. In our drive to create more jobs, in our determination to create centers of opportunities outside of Monrovia, all across the country. Those things are not being accomplished.
What was responsible for that?
There are several things. There are several factors, objective factors indeed, not subjective. One of the major factors that contributed to that was the unfavorable economic situation which we were greeted with.
Are we going back to Helen Johnson Sirleaf, greeted with?
For which I think we should take full responsibility for not exercising proper diligence to know the actual state of our economy when we took over. I think the excitement of ascendancy to power kind of consumed some of our viewers. And so we were more focused on political continuity than actually trying to delve in and know the actual state of the economy. Yes, we were greeted with a failed economy, a very flawed one, empty coffers. We were greeted with situations that were totally beyond our control. Now that's one. Two, you want to take into consideration the events brought forth by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Here we go, COVID-19.
Restricted government all across the world to deliver on some of the promises it made to its people. So Liberia is not our government is not unique to that. It's not just unique to Liberia. But here's what we're going to tell you. Even if you missed all of those things, today in Liberia, young Liberian women and men can walk to a public university, a public tertiary educational establishment, and just have to go there and start classes. Yeah.
Start classes. Okay.
Today in Liberia, all across about I think 5 or so counties, heavily people who are very, very much in a very desperate condition, who are living on the margins of society, are receiving assistance to be able to at least carry their family. So there are a lot of other things that have been accomplished.
Where are they getting assistance from?
There's a program. What's it called? A social safety net program that was launched by the Ministry of Justice.
Under the auspices of the government?
Yeah, through the Ministry of Justice.
Okay, let's have a conversation here. Amos George.
Yeah, Mr. So.
Mr. Johnson from Canada put into context. Okay, a rare document that's a pro-port agenda, a document which of course originated from the United Nations, which is a very good piece of work. The implementation aspect itself, that's another different thing to look at. But then Leo came back to say, okay, the guys who profess to be the Messiah, who profess to be taking the Holy Bible, salvation, redemption, which of course is a redemption that's from the opposition side, we are not getting anything as well. The professor said, well, they came in with tons of problems. even though we did hear, we don't know the interpretations are grading the former president 80%. I don't know on what basis or what some of how the transition work, to get us to be where we are. It seems to me this is the same act of politician playing game and giving justifications of wrongdoing. You want to start with you want to respond to Leo first?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you at some point in time. And this is why these platforms we are on to say it. Because it had not been the culture of political parties in Liberia to disclose donor names, who gave whatever. It had never been. There are laws on the book, but at the last time you and I were discussing, I was saying the same thing. The election commission that's supposed to police the political party is not doing her work because those laws are there. When you present a document, you're supposed to present the list of your donors. That comes with telephone number, how much you made.
Oh, why not? That's the same sort of blame game. If the laws are there, why those who are also who's for God's sake seeking public office? Why not the factor in honesty and to say these are the law? But you see it and you decide to take a back turn and we want to hold institution. And you are quite correct. The enforcement aspect, the implementation aspect has been from time to time, generation to generation. Is that a sort of, we're going to buy into that sort of lazy argument?
No, Mr. Otto, it's not lazy. Even here, why you think the commission, your whole political parties or individual to make campaign for disclosure? If you don't hold this, they will not make it. They will have some. But they make it a crime now if you don't. And when you are caught, you're going to pay. You know that Jesse Jackson Jr. Can't be reformed. He took money, bought, gave, and thing. In Liberia, it's nothing. The election commission that's supposed to hold these people, they are not doing it. And that's Hinnah tendency. We have a tendency to invade laws. It's just natural for human being. That's why I say police. If police is not the one, people have the tendency to commit crime. But if the police is there to enforce that law, it serves as a deterrent. So it comes back to the same thing. The election commission is there to police the political parties. But if the find out the election commission is weak or for some reason not enforcing, they will take advantage of it, and that's the tendency of human being. So that's it. We now have to continue to speak on this issue for political parties to make sure that election commission hold these people. Bring your donor list. Those who contributing this money. So tomorrow, when you empower, we can see how contracts are awarded to people. Okay, but if it is not done, the parties will take advantage of it. Now, let me go to the other issue about the political party running around. The CPP is trying to put something together.
Is what?
Now, the CPP
is trying.
Yeah, because there's two wings now fighting in the party in our group. The Joseph Boga group.
The left wing and the right wing, right?
Yes.
The left and the right.
Yes. So they are not competing, gearing towards the nomination of the standard bearer. I think without Ringston, that comment was in Basel, the other day he was in Bonn. So these guys are moving around. But yeah, and Omen Boga is counting on this 40-year experience in government. And I've said this thing here before. That Omen Boga, he had distanced himself from Ellen Johnson said it was a sad mistake for him to do. Because if I were around him, I would have told him, hey, tell the people, when we took all this country, we had a budget of $80 million. We took it to $500 million before leaving. Did we do everything right? No. But we must count those things that we did to improve, to move this country forward. The negative one, you can take responsibility, but when you distance yourself and you serve that government for 12 years, receive every benefit of that office, you try over 40 times in the 12 years representing the government, and you come to tell me that you are all car parked in the garage, you are vice the face of the going on right, representing Ellen Johnson, and you tell me you are all car, and you receive over $2.7 million as salary. Come on. Let me say that to those people. It is legal, it is right for anybody to receive that salary. But what I said, morally, it was wrong. We came from a state of war, 14 years. And for people to receive them now, lucrative salaries and justifies that it was legal, Yes, it was legal, but morally it was wrong because everybody was strive. So what was the sacrifice that they were making? So this is the question I want to ask the Bouaka supporters. You can't just come here, you do not pass, we will not allow this thing to happen. Everybody now who want to ascend to the position of the person, we got to scrutinize him. And they were the same thing that person we are dead. They did the person we are. Never went for no debate. When they come out to say, I will do 1 million jobs, I will lift people out of poverty. People say, yeah. No idea where the resources were coming to come from, how they were going to implement this program. We would never see that. People say, hey, this man, he's the guy. You talk about international contact. President, we are saying the same thing to the Liberian people, that I have international contact. When I become president, all these people will come here. So please, do not question Mr. Alexander Cummings because your president said the same thing. And it had not come to fruition. Since he became president, how many states have come to that country? Now, you talk about a broke country. No. They left with a $560 million budget. Is that a broke country? No. Did you audit the government? That's a poor excuse that you want to continue anything. No. If you want to continue, then set the record straight.
Okay, let's hold on right there. Hold on right there, Pa George. Okay, let's welcome into this conversation the doyen over the microphone, former state broadcaster, ELWA and ELBC. He's now based in New Jersey, right here in the USA. Mr. James Gomia is our senior contributor. Mr. Gomia, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I see you smiling, but let me just go to Leo, because it looks like Leo seems to knock the two hairs above there, knock them together. And Pa Joyce say, okay, we do this here. And Pa Joyce turn around and flip on the professor, said, no, don't even go there, because you have all of the international support. Leo.
I got an appropriate response for Mr. George.
Absolutely. So why was you gonna come? Let me just
let Leo come in.
Yeah. Okay, so Leo. Yeah. There's a power struggle right now. Yeah. I am on the right side. You are on the right side. Professor is about to fire at George. Is this the same sort of way our politicians behave? Is this the same way said, no, I got a shiny shoe, your shoe doesn't have a polish, you got a dusty shoe? That's what we see on footing right now. It seems your intro to really punch into the bellies of these gentlemen, and they all begin to take true confection.
So I will start with by Josh here. Maybe I'm a younger Liberian, so we will not accept that old way of saying, oh, because the law there and the people don't enforce the law, so it's okay for people to go and do. I've come to a country where I've seen better. I know better. So I should always expect better. And I will say this it's like saying drinking and driving is against the law on the books. But since the police people don't enforce it and somebody drinking and driving, then it is okay. Let me put it this way. I keep saying it. When people are in political opposition and we say the law said they should do that, but the law is not being enforced, so they're just doing it, and we accept it. When they come to political power, then all of a sudden we are crying because they are not following the rule of law. That is the standard that we've set. So I tell people today, the law says in Liberia, besides even the law, if you've been a member of any organization, any properly well-run organization, the first thing you know it by will be the financial report. In fact, I would take it one step to say an audited financial report that shows how well-managed an organization is, how well-run it is. If people cannot run a small political party properly to be transparent and give account, how can we hope that they would take over the entire country's budget and be able to run it in a transparent manner? That's number one. The next thing I will come to Professor Zaolo here is one thing to admit and say we're falling short, but it's another thing in the same breath then to also say that no, it was because we underestimated certain things, that we had certain assumptions that actually did not work. I would disagree. You're going to year 4 in the CDC-led government. If the proper agenda for development and prosperity, if there were some assumptions that were not correct that you realized, we are in almost year 4. How come nobody have come back to us to say, even though we did the pro agenda, however, we are going to be readjusting and recalibrating our measurement indicators because we've acknowledged and accepted certain things? How come nobody has come back to us with a report to say, here is where the government have made strides? Here is where the government have failed. The only thing we can hear, oh, you're not see the president being street-led. Oh, that is not a report. You're supposed to give us a report against the proper agenda to say when we came into power, here is what we committed to you. Unfortunately, there were many shortcomings that we were not aware of. As a result of that, here are the areas we're falling short. Here are the areas we've achieved. And here are the areas we are recalibrating to try and still deliver on our mandate. Outside of that, it is unfair to the Liberian people that we are supposed to sit there and say the government is doing well when they cannot report based on their own gray sheet that they committed to in black and white. If you commit to something and you do not deliver on it, you failed. So you should report to us and let us know what is the status of it.
Yeah, and I think you are correct to some extent, because that's exactly what we are doing now. The fact that it didn't happen.
Is that what you're doing now?
But hold on one second now. You want to take things let's put things in the right perspective. This government has been in power for how long? A little more than 3 years, correct?
Half time, they're gone half of the term.
Yeah, approximately 2 years into this government, the world at large was hit by a global pandemic that sent economies all over the world in tatters. Our government was at the verge of studying and reaching up to Liberian people. You know, the present nationwide tour should have started in 2020. The president intention then was to go around Liberia to see for himself what was happening, to marry that with the data he already collected, to address the Liberian people on the direction this country is going to be taking. Now, let me tell you something. I've said it yet, and you watch for it. Within the next couple of weeks, you're going to see what's going to be happening. We've never been shy about our errors, but we'll be more open about those mistakes we made. And we're going to tell you this. We're not feeling Liberian people because the President Weah never sleeps without thinking about what could have been and what should be had it not been for those challenges he's encountered. And so what he's doing now is to see how we can address those challenges and deliver on the promises that we made to our people, albeit with some corrections in it. So yeah, I understand it's frustrating that we couldn't have done it earlier, but there was no way we could have done it earlier. We're not given a chance by nature to do it. We didn't ask for the pandemic. And so we can't, we couldn't do it at that time. So you might want to say, well, you had enough time the first 2 years to do it. I said, no. Government is not, government is nothing close to what we assume it to be. Look,
when did you people realize that?
Hold on, let him answer. I will bring in Mr. Gomi.
I used to be in opposition. And besides being in opposition, I was a young man at the University of Liberia, Leo. I was a firebrand student activist. And my dad worked for the government of Liberia. And everything the government of Liberia did during the President Samuel Kanyadu administration, I was very critical of it. Now, the positions are flipped, where my dad is outside, and I'm sort of like inside. And I understand his perspective. He makes fun of me. He tells me every time, I used to tell you, this is not government. This is not how it's supposed to be. It's not just black and white. Mind you, I want to give you the story about a young man called Barack Obama, who became president of the United States. Did you listen to Barack Obama prior to becoming the president of the United States? Did you see how he performed as president of the United States of America? Did he deliver on some of the promises, and most of the big promises he made to the people? No, he couldn't. Because being a community organizer is quite different from being a president of the great United States of America. So standing outside and seeing and knowing what government should do or should not do is quite different than being in government and seeing good intentions that are being curtailed and restricted by limited resources.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Veteran James Gomiant into this here. Mr. Gomiant, here we are. Unfortunately, this is not a new talking point. Okay, when we're talking about Helen Johnson Sally, those days we were not in a glass house and we're throwing stone. We didn't know we were going to go on the airfloor. Now we are in the airfloor, and we didn't know. Sometimes the escalator can, the elevator can work, and sometimes and no current, and the AC is on, the AC is off, and we will all be sweating up here. So, Mr. Gamia, you listen to these gentlemen briefly here, that the key question here is, the both oppositions and the ruling establishments, are they on message? Are they telling the Liberian people what we need to know? Or are we wasting their time? We're going to come to the second segment here, the compositions of these political parties and what have you. You listen to Professor, you listen to Amos George, you listen to Leo, right? Yeah, let me just bring you into this conversation. This is sort of saying old traditional blame game. I'm right, you are right. We are doing the right thing. COVID came. It was a disaster to man-made. It was a natural disaster. We shouldn't be held responsible. We have heard those things over and over. So talk to us here a little bit.
The problem we have in Liberia is always trying to find something to blame for our shortcomings. We have always been talking about the civil war came, and we have had civil war for years and years. So because of that, we can't move forward. And we know a country like Rwanda had kind of similar situation, and where we see where they stand today. And now the ruling party now is going to blame their shortcoming on what they call COVID. They said the president.
And one COVID didn't take place.
Let me just say this: President Weah took office January 2018. Okay, COVID hit Liberia March 2020. That's almost 2 years. Why didn't he take his victory lap then? Why are we blaming it on COVID now, Mr. Zaulo, Professor Zaulo?
Well, because like I said, I indicated to you
from 2018 to 2020.
Yeah,
that's 2 years.
Mr. Gomez, let me ask you a question. If I'll be direct,
if you answer my question, then you can ask me.
Okay, so then I'll answer your question by asking you a question. I think
I want you to answer my question.
Why? No, but that's the thing. Mr. Gomia, why? I remember you going back to Liberia to revive ELWA.
Yes.
Yeah. What happened?
Well, I did.
You did?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Of course.
So why are you here?
Why I'm here? I went to revive ELWA, and I did. I also went to Liberia and took a major organization to Liberia that is based there, that has been a brand new hospital, and did a lot of work in Liberia, all over Liberia. Okay?
I'm not trying to disparage your work. Here's what I'm trying to tell you.
No, you cannot either. I'm just asking you, but you are not answering my question. You're giving the president should have taken his nationwide tour, but you're talking about March 2020 that COVID hit Liberia. And this man took office January 2018.
Okay. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? What I'm trying to get, the reason I brought the issue about your work with LY was because I'm very positive that when you went there, you faced challenges in the beginning, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Was it any close to what you expected? Did you expect the level of challenges you faced when you landed in Liberia?
Oh, there were challenges, but we're prepared for those challenges, and we met those challenges.
But beyond,
and we overcame those challenges. But we didn't sit down to blame that, oh, people came and bombed the place, so we're not able to do anything. We did, and we looked for other resources, and we're able to move the place from where it used to be.
Yeah, that's correct.
So,
that's what the point I wanted you to get out. So listen to me. When President Weah came to power, like I indicated, he felt a compulsion to ensuring continuity of democracy, something strange to Liberia, something that is nothing to Liberia. That was the first thing. Driven by that desire to ensure that politicians, political leaders, presidents can ascend to power and know that when they leave, they can still be able to live a life free of persecution. He erred in a whole lot of ways. some of the decisions he made, some of the statements he made relative to the previous government, I think they were premature. And once those statements were made, the facts began to unravel. It became very clear that the state of the Liberian economy was nowhere close to what we expected. So guess what? The first 1 year was spent basically trying to even meet the wage bill. You remember the story about Liberian government taking money from the account for NGOs just to ensure stability in the country. So that
let me take myself into this.
Professor Rosalo, let me
Leo, 1 second, I'm gonna bring you in. Rest assured. Professor, let me just intro into this conversation here.
Yeah.
Was there any contingency planned coming into this picture here, being in the opposition for quite a long while before getting state power, or there was just a one way, you know what, we are going into this and it's going to be like a peanut butter and jelly, so there was no any backup plan? Was that a case or what?
Let me tell you something. Even the most scientifically planned event can sometimes go bad. You know the story of what was it? Was the name of the space launch that ended up blowing up in the air? Do you know how much is put into that? Do you know how much planning is put into that? So just because you plan doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go according to plan. Let's not ignore that. Let's stop making things look like a black and white. It's not binary. There are shades of gray all between. It's not that when you plan it, so you're going to succeed. Planning and failing are not necessarily mutually exclusive. It can happen together.
Okay. All right.
Let me come in, Professor Zalo. You're talking about when the government took over before they discovered that the country economy was in shambles. Do you want to tell me, knowing very well President Weah was a senator, he knew what was coming. He knew that United Nations was leaving the country. Most of the NGOs were leaving. Those are people that were pumping funds into the country. They were leaving. You didn't have planned that when all these organizations leave, that the country was going to go down. Then they have plan B for them to fill in.
Are you telling me that's the reason why the economy was in the state that it was in?
No, I'm asking you. Those are some of the contributing factors. You have over thousands of people that were in the country, foreigners that were taking pay and they were renting, they were pumping money into the economy. Those are some of the things that are happening in the country. So when all those things leave, what do you think is going to happen to the economy?
That's a good question for you.
Okay.
No, but what I'm asking you, they should have known that and they should have planned for that.
Okay, hold on. Let's see what I'm going to stabilize here. Leo, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. So let me put it this way. So for everything we've heard, Professor Zalo, it's fair to say that the CDC government has failed on its agenda for development and prosperity. Now, I know the word fail is something everybody may run away from. That doesn't mean you cannot revive yourself. But up to this point, the government have failed. And you couldn't blame the issues you met for 6 months. In politics, for the first 6 months, all the problems are the problems of your predecessor. After 6 months, they are your problems now. That's why you ran to be president. That's why you said to our people that all this thing this Madam Sally woman doing for the last 12 years are nonsense. We can do it better. We can deliver the Liberian people. We can give you this. So you came there. The 6 months, there was a turnover process. The citizens have the right.
How do you reach the 6 months? Where's the number 6 coming from? Where's that number 6 coming from?
The number 6 coming from the duration of time that you can blame your.
Where did you get that? Where did you get that from?
I got that because at least you need 6 months to settle.
Why 6 months?
Right after. So how long do you need to settle your government? 1 year.
You're giving numbers, do you?
Exactly.
Where are you getting the numbers from?
So I take the numbers from analysis.
Provide empirical evidence that
let me land. Let me land.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right, Prof. I know you want to you answer, but I just want to say You had the opportunity to do your turnover. You had the opportunity to have asked the previous government for everything you needed to know. Shall we say it is the problem again of incompetence? Because in my opinion, if the right people were sitting in the room doing the turnover process from Madam Sharif, asking the right questions, I don't think they would have been blindsided by anything, because they would have done their due diligence to fully do an analysis of what they were taking over, and they would have been able to make commitments based on the reality of what they were taking over. So maybe that's the first place the ball got missed. The second place is the CDC government needs to come back to the Liberian people and say, you know what? We were wrong. We were wrong. And the projections that we made, we failed on it. However, here are the things that we've decided to formulate to be able to help us deal with this situation. Until we get to that point, we are almost in another electionary year. People will only hold the CDC accountable by the PAPD document, because so far there has been nothing else introduced to the Liberian people to say this didn't work. Because any smart manager, any smart leader, when you notice that your strategy is not working for whatever reason, you recalibrate, you retool, and you come to your people and say, you know what? We are retooling, and as a result of that, we'll be changing some things. We'll be going into some new direction as a result. You don't just expect people to say, you know what, because things were hard when the government took over, it is your responsibility to feed your house. What are the people who pay you at your work to feed your house? It is your responsibility.
Did I not address that yet? Did I not address that earlier? I indicated to you that in the not too distant future, those issues will be brought forth and will be addressed.
Oh, I've been hearing that since year one. Since CDC talk about, we've been hearing that.
What is the hearing 6 months? Because you have six
Professor, and I hope we are not pinning you down here because you are in the driving seat, so it's obvious that the weight going to be here. And believe me, we're going to also tweet on the opposition side. But let me ask you this question here. Leo brought in something. If a plan is not working and something is not going right down the road, it is your obligation to come back. Have you guys been honest to come back to the Liberian people? Hey, this is where our thoughts, this is where we're thinking of. Yeah. But it seems like this sort of iron fist is being put off, and part of that iron fist is to defend your position. Okay, we said we're going to do this, but COVID came, and you did not audit the outgoing government. And that's the essence of the transition. And we saw Helen Johnson Sirleaf coming back and hitting high on the president. Was that something that do you see some of those factors that CDC, that government missed the ball? Because you guys, you are going really in your war room and consider all of these factors. We're going to run the national government. This time it's not at a party level, but we're going to be over ministries and agencies of government. And our decision that we're going to be making, it will affect lives. Do you see where that point? Do you see where I'm coming from?
I understand where you're coming from. Like I said, even the most organized, well-planned scientific event can go wrong. All right. So let's stop this thought that if there were proper planning, everything would have gone perfectly. That's a myth. That's a myth. So you can plan properly. When Leo indicated here that the strategy is not working again, how do you know? I don't think it's about strategy not working. I think maybe the strategies are working.
I said the plan, not the strategy.
The plan is working. But what I would say is that the plan is challenged because of objective factors.
You cannot have it both ways.
Sir, the system being challenged does not necessarily mean that it is not working. You understand? It can work even while it's being challenged. And like I indicated to you, within the next month, within the next weeks or months, the president will be speaking on some of these things. The government of Liberia will be addressing some of these things. We do understand that it's a challenge for the president when parents cannot, find money to put their kids in school. The president understands that's not a good thing. He doesn't want it to be that way. And so actions have been taken to address it. Look, the president has collected so much data on his trips all across the country. And now he will sit down and begin to address some of those issues based on the information. He's been listening to his people. They've been speaking out. They've been telling him some of the things that he should be doing. And so now is the time to deliver. I trust you. Let me assure you that the next 2 years will be a time of monumental accomplishment in Liberia. This government will deliver beyond the expectations of even the most optimistic sedition.
I'm writing as you are speaking, because when we start to hold accountable again, when I say we're against sedition.
Professor.
Okay. Okay, if I try to go down,
Professor,
so we'll switch
let me
gears.
say this.
Bill, you see, you're not going to be quiet. You still want to be coming. I will come back.
No, I'm not quiet. I'm just you know, Professor, you can come there and say what the CDC challenges are. Yeah. But let me tell you this. Accountability is a hallmark of any system. Accountability. President Ellen Johnson said she left 150 million in the cover of the Liberian government. Your president came out and said, no, it was 50. And she said, well, 150. Yeah. That had not to do with stay here to verify that if they would have done the right thing, accountability today, that miss would not be talking about it. And the excuse, the excuse people always find is that NGO left the country. But the question I always pose to some of you people is that what Ellen Johnson was doing, that those NGOs were in the country. I believe her government was not 100%, but they had some level of confidence in her. And because we are government, came to power, had not demonstrated anything towards the NGO for them to stay. They have poor, many of them have poor out of the country.
I mean, seriously, do you really mean that? Let Leo and Mr. Gomina help you with that part. I wouldn't even
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so Professor, deal or no deal? You putting this thing, you putting yourself at risk. You want James Gomia and Leo to handle this. Let me go to Mr. Gomia.
Handle it.
Yeah. No. Okay. Let me come in. Let me come in.
You took money from foreign embassy. You took money from foreign embassy.
I will let Leo.
Hold on. They have to ask you to put that money back. Those are credibility issues. If people want to come back, they tend to look at all these things that your government is doing. They have to drive these people away.
George, we want to finish with this topic, so we need to be on the opposition as well. We need to watch out for them, what they are doing, what are their plans, are they having a conversation? But Mr. Gomiant, you were blessed for you to be the presiding judge. Professor George, Professor Zablo say you and Leo, the judge. I don't know Leo who's the judge now. Who's going to be the jury or whatever? You go ahead first.
Yeah, no. Actually, because of the international community leaving the country, they felt that the nation is about a time to take care of themselves. So that's why most of them left. My only problem was we knew they were going to leave, and if we knew they were going to leave, the government should have had a plan in place so that we can be able, so we can fall where we are. You know, because these people were putting a lot of money into the economy, only second to the diaspora Liberians, what they put into the country. So with that, when you know they're going to leave, you should have a plan in place. That's my only problem with them, and they didn't do that. And my
all right, let's see.
His internet froze there.
Yeah, let's see here. Okay, so Leo, Leo, bring you in here. Like, as soon as he set up in the backstage, I'm gonna break it.
Yeah, you can bring him back.
You are the number 2 judge presiding.
Yeah, no, but let me just put it this way. First of all, I'm one person who I'm even disappointed when we're talking about international community living and we're talking about NGOs. Look, we're running a country here. We can't run it like NGO. Look, I will say this today. Thanks to our partners, NGO. These are aid agencies. They only come to deal with emergency relief. They don't come for long-term development plans. No, they are there. In fact, their business is the profit when there are emergencies in these countries and there are hard times. They don't do well when things are being stabilized because they're not able to create the same type of emergency to raise millions of dollars compared to when we had Liberia at emergency. It was good business for them. But number 2, let's put it this way. The people told us they were going to be drawing down 10, 12 years ahead of time. We were informed. Let me put it to you this way. I'm one person who's against that argument that businesses and NGOs and people don't go to country because of corruption. That's not true. If that was the case, people would not be doing business in Afghanistan. People would not be doing business in Somalia. People would not be doing business in Sudan. If it was true that business people truly run away from corruption and all of that stuff, no, they don't. Business people study all the factors that make their business thrive. If they feel they are not there, one of the challenges we have in Liberia has been the issue of electricity. For a long time, nobody's going to open a serious factory in Liberia because the cost of electricity for them without a stable grid is so expensive that they will not be able to actually do it. The second factor is the lack of a how you call it, workforce. The lack of, if you go open a car production plant in Liberia right now, who will you hire to work in the car production line?
You are making a mistake. You cannot say corruption is not a factor.
Hey,
no way, Leo.
But George, I'm not saying it's not a factor. All I'm saying is you hold on, George. I'm not saying corruption is not a factor. Where I'm disagreeing is for people to tell me that is the sole reason why people are leaving Liberia. That's not true. Business people will go to war zones to do Firestone.
Exactly. That's what I was coming.
Firestone never left Liberia at all doing the war. They were still making money.
And Leo, that's a very valid point, because I remember when I was in Camp Waterloo in Freetown, that was the protection officer.
Did you see the tell how much I have to pay child sit up to make that money?
Exactly, but because it was still profitable.
It was
Mr. George,
still profitable for them.
Mr. George, the issue of because of this, and that's what I'm coming to. When I was into Waterloo refugee camp, the protection for the UNHCR protection officer, he's an African, Chanda. Mr. Chanda, he too was a refugee. And he used to come to tell us, he said, look, this is a money business. As long as we in the UN and these people, they want for these situations to go on, because the more they have these situations, believe me or not, money pumps in by the international community, other organizations, billionaires and people. So for them, forget it. They like these sort of crises here. But we'll soon be switching gear here because we're going to be wrapping up. Pagomia.
Yes.
So what, the ruling in favor of Professor Zablo?
No, I'm not rooting in favor of anyone. I'm just stating some of the facts on the ground.
Okay. So,
things that should have been done.
Okay, with the last minute here, let's switch gear here.
Mr. Su, before we go to the switching gear, I think I want to thank Leo and Mr. Gomia for like I said, Leo is a very smart man, and so is Mr. Gomia and Mr. George. Look, what Leo has been saying is exactly what I've been saying over the years. Now listen, did you hear me mention in my argument that the NGO left, so that's why Liberian economy was bad? I never mentioned that.
So I say seditions have always made the case that because the NGO left.
And no, seditions don't make that case. Those are the seditions. Maybe some seditions.
Go on sponsor. The tips are there. Look, I can't agree.
But let me correct you now. So that's why I'm saying that's not our position. That's not the position of the CDC.
But this man is chairman. Chairman.
It doesn't matter. Maybe that's how they.
I can't agree. He say he's not a sedition.
Okay. Let me respond to that. So we move ahead.
He doesn't speak on behalf of the CDC. So I'm just correcting you.
The man speaks. He said the government.
Okay, yeah, but
he said that I go there. The tips are there. You can watch it.
Yeah, and he's a very smart guy, but I'm saying that he has it wrong, maybe in that particular instant. Look, no government thrives on the United Nations coming in. United Nations does not fix economies. Let's go back and read.
I didn't say United Nations fix economy.
It doesn't.
But I'm just saying some of the factors involved. Is this corruption? Look at it.
Nobody was depending on that.
Your government had faced.
But what I want to do.
Let me just make a point.
I think both Leo and James, Mr. Gomia talk about plan, how to be in place. Once those people departed, no doubt, definitely there had to be a plan. Our government should have known that those things was happening. If they felt that it would have impacted on the economy, they should have taken that action. They should have taken it appropriate. And another thing I wanted to mention here is that Leo will disagree with this because he was, and he's right to say so. But I want to clarify, now that I'm supporting it, the issue about moving money from donor-funded project to cover government expenditure is nothing new to Liberia. So when it transpired in during the CDC government, it was amplified, and we know the reasons why. They were hitting hands, they were pushing it. But let Bridget Salih cannot tell you, she cannot tell anybody. I dare her come and say that during her administration, the government of Liberia did not dip into donors-funded
If
money.
they did it, they had confidence in her. That's why they didn't expose her.
Well,
wait a minute, John. And then was that a writing?
So
Right?
you see,
you want to
so you see why I tell you, say I come from a different breed of Liberians where we have a different standard of accountability. This thing we've done in Liberia where we continue to run.
Yes.
In my opinion, NGO inflocking in a country is a sign of trouble. Because they incorrectly inflate your economy without any proper long-term strategy of saying it's a serious trouble. Because they do it, they come in, they pour in hundreds of $millions over 3 to 4 years while they are there. When they are leaving, they draw everything out. Nothing stays in. That is the reason why we are where we are. Madam Sirleaf did. I wouldn't blame her because when she talked about the country that was 80 million, we had just come from war. So things were in tatters. But over the period of 12 years, she did not successfully transition the economy to a place where it was dependent on the cut your cloth according to your measurement. If your economy is only raising $500 million, your expenditure should be with the $500 million. You can't be spending 800 and your economy is only raising 500. People will say, oh, how will we take care of all these things? This is what will happen because these funders will leave at some point.
All right. Okay, gentlemen, so let's see where we can switch gear in the last 30 minutes before we wrap up here. I don't know, there was a button to top. What are we going to go top to bottom here? And Leo, we have 4 collaborated parties, 11 group call themselves under the banner of Rainbow Coalition. You have 3 is the coalitions of the ruling establishment, Mr. Gomia. Don't you think it's right for us to begin to get the conversation from these institutions that are seeking for the higher office of the land to know who they are, who's going to be the face, and all of that? Coming now is the folks in the ANC more or less now begin to surface coming. He going here and there. Boyka folks on the other, and which way are we going? Who going to be who? Don't you think it's time for us to get a sense so that we'll know exactly who these people, or are they waiting on the eve of the election to tell us, say, coming president, Boyka this, and maybe Benena Urit? What can we know now?
Well, based on if we look at the history of our political parties and what they have been doing in the past, I think we cannot say right now and hang our hat on anybody right now, because even if they form these groups and coalition or whatever, usually when it's like several months to elections, they start breaking up. So I don't really know where we're going to hang it. I don't know whether the collaborating political party will still be together. I don't know whether the 11 Rainbow Coalition will still be together. I have no idea. But what we have to do is to try to engage our people, especially our voters. I think the problem we have in Liberia is we need serious
voter
education on our people. Like, for example, I was listening to NPR, which is almost like a mother station to LPR, and they were talking about a guy who started this organization called A School to Learn to Become a Citizen. You know, I think that's why we need to be focused on right now to educate our voting public, and because right now I don't even know where we're going to go, because you hearing little things here and there from the Oneikeh camp and from the Kumis camp. They don't seem to be getting along very well. We're hearing a lot of things.
Is there a cloud hanging, before I go to the next speaker, is there a cloud hanging over the 2 institutions? Can't we see anything you're holding at the end of the day? Kumi has been saying he wants to be the guy on the top. Boyka came up recently. I'm a Spirit guy, Costa, and blah, 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 and all of that. And the folks for Boyka, they are also pushing, and Pa George made a case. He said he's been packed, but I'm wondering why somebody can ask the question, I wish he Boyka or the folks of Boyka really come here. When he was he packed in the first 6-year term or after the 6-year term before he was packed? When he became packed, because you were there for 12 years, why were you hanging up with somebody and you found out that this relationship is not holding? You claim that you were packed. You were Salam, but you were traveling.
Yeah, race car parked in the garage. Yeah,
the countries you were traveling. So where were you packed? Which garage? In Liberia or outside Liberia? I don't know. Let me go to Leo.
Lofa County.
Yeah.
Or you're packing in local, right?
in Zaza. Okay. But let me put it this way, Mr. So, and again, I keep saying maybe I'm a different breed of Liberian, but I struggle to understand how we can continue to complain that the government is the problem and we expect the government to be the solution at the same time. Mr. Gomez just said something remarkable just now. It's called, Mr. Gomez, it's called Citizen School. I've been involved with it.
Okay. Yes.
I've been very involved with it. The problem in Liberia is all of our sectors are innately corrupt. The opposition is corrupt. The government is corrupt. Our religious sector is corrupt. Our pastors, our bishops are all corrupt. Because I would say this, Citizen School is a private initiative. It's not by any government whatsoever. A private initiative of a citizen who feels that because the politics of the day is corrupting people so much that they don't understand what the importance of it is, took on this initiative. This is the question I keep asking in Liberia. How come everybody say the only way they can do anything in our country is when they get in government, even when they're in a political party trying to be government? Every political party, if they were transparent and serious, you have a citizen school at their political party headquarters. But what do? They call their voters and young people militants. That's what they are good for. What do? They make them sing songs and send them to attack other people as thugs, to create violence whenever they actually disagree. What do when there's a problem with the government or whoever? They put the children behind them to sing songs behind them and threaten the peace because they want to show their numerical strength. What happened to political party treating the next best speakers, the next best debaters, the next best policy wongs? Political party, if you say you can do this when they make you president, this is the best opportunity to start doing it now in a political party. So my argument to the opposition political parties is this. What we're going to see 2023, I'm afraid that we may already be seeing a lost cause. Because whoever goes to second round with President Weah, depending on what the landscape look like, all the people we are calling corrupt today will cross carpet and join that person to help them win. And when that person wins, whether it's President Weah or whoever else, then they have to reward them again with jobs. So the same people we are complaining about today that we say are corrupt people, get ready for them in 2023 because they will cross the carpet, they will lend the support, whether it's opposition or the ruling party, and we are shameless when it comes to appointing them in high positions of power as a reward for their support.
Okay, so then let me put this sort of a ridiculous question out there, and I will start with Professor here. Let's see, because he's in the driving seat. Professor, talk to me here. The proliferations of these political institutions that we see here, the People Liberation. I thought about Samara Machel from Mozambique, were resurrecting and breaking a party with Dr. Kase here. Let's look at it strategically on the philosophical aspect and see and do like a play around here. Who does it profit? These proliferation of these political institutions, Rainbow, 11, Collaboration, 4. For now, they are hanging in there because they are trying to unify to see. But we don't even know whether that ceasefire going to hold, like what James Gomez said. You remember all the Liberian Peace Conference. They were arguing, Charles Taylor told the Liberian people, these people, politicians, they don't say and drink together. They're going to be a beef fight there, and at the end of the day, I will become president. And that came to fruition. So the proliferations of this political party, who does it favor? The ruling establishment or the opposition? Is there any determining factors that we can put into place?
Well, I don't think the ruling establishment is going to be sitting down and trying to benefit from the misactions or the missteps of the opposition. The ruling establishment is a massive-based political institution, grassroots-based political institution. We draw our strength from ordinary masses, from the downtrodden and oppressed people. Those people know that President Weah has been a champion for their cause. And so they are not moved by what transpired within the Unity Party or what transpired with the other foreigner. They are moved by what President Weah brings to the table. That's why they gravitate towards him. But let me tell you something about the opposition. I listened to Vice President Boyka, on the Henry Costa show. I have a very good friend. He's called Fatuma Kesseley. Several years ago, I was very hard on Vice President Boyka. He sent me a message. He told me, he said, Isaac, additionally, this man is our father. We cannot be doing that. Just slow down. And so I've taken I made a decision at that point, to go soft on Vice President Boyka. But when I listened to Vice President Boyka on the Hinnah Costa show, I decided, abandon the truth. Because Vice President Boyka was on that show insulting Liberians. He said, like the Hinnah Costa said, there was some Liberians who are concerned about your health. And Hinnah Costa was very, very clear in his question. He said some of them are legitimately concerned. They are genuinely in your interest. And then others might be doing it for political reasons. Here's Vice President Boyka answer. Everyone who worries about my health is because they don't like me. They want me to die. They're bad at wishing for me, and so the bad will go on them. As a man wants to be president of a country. He got 42 years of experience in government. His mindset is that people who question his health, his ability to rule, given his age and his health.
And that's a legitimate questions. He wants to be the number one person in the country. He needs to know
the bad people. He considered to be. So Liberians got to be very careful who you elect. If this man, while he's not yet a president, doesn't entertain criticism or questions, what do you think he's going to become when he becomes president? That's one. So so when it comes to those people, I think Vice President, and we're going to make that as a punchline. I'm going to play that.
That's funny that you say that, Papa Zalo, when president. We was asked the same question about the importance of education. He said education is not important to be president. We got to.
I'll answer that part.
We have the recording.
I share his view.
Oh, you share his view that education, the message you sent to our children in Liberia, that education is not important?
But when a president educated, doesn't have to be president, right?
No, I'm saying education is not important was the line he used.
Because you decide
what I'm saying to you is that I'm interested in Liberian kids being educated to be the next.
President, we said education is not important.
I want people to use the education.
That was a campaign line, by the way.
I'm telling you, I support President Weah's statement. And here's what I say to you. My interest is for Liberian children to get education, to be the next line of inventors. I want to see the next cell phone being created in Liberia.
Yeah, how can you say it's not important? How can you say it's not important? No. You want me to play the recording? You want me to play the recording?
You just said it. You said you said it.
I can play the recording for you, President. We have
a double standards here. Professor, you have hold on 1 second, Professor. Let's see here. I see it's a little bit double standard, but I could be wrong, and we can still do it. You are a professor.
Yeah.
You're mentoring students, colleges. You have institutions in Liberia. And we always say leaders they must set the example. So if you come, you are a leader of a country and you say, how does the inventor comes about? You have to maybe go there in a classroom, the practical aspect and all of that before you can even become an inventor. But when you come to say it's not important,
so why the president is not getting educated?
The president is not the
one.
Why
the president get educated? The president is educated.
Well, you say you're educated, and that means then you know education is important.
Oh, then you say education is not important for the president.
Here's the thing: the president is not the one doing the invention. I told you.
That's not what I'm saying, though. So you want somebody to be a president who is not important, who is not educated? I mean, you want you're telling everybody to be president who should not be educated.
My grandparents were not educated. I love them and were good people.
How many presidents you know that are not educated? Who?
I said my grandparents were not educated.
Your grandparents are not president. I said to be president of Liberia. Have you known people who are not educated?
Was that presidents I know who are not educated?
Yeah. Don't get me let's get it done.
I don't want to get deported. I could name some for right around here.
Please go ahead and name some. I challenge you.
Get deported. I don't want to get deported.
Nobody will deport you for that.
No, I can't trust it. I can't trust. I don't get. But you know,
okay, guys.
I don't know any that are not educated.
Maybe you guys very young, but I know Pop
George.
Okay,
guys, let's put it down here a little bit. Okay, let's put it down there, Professor. Professor, let's go back in the days of the 90s. I'm born the former ECOWAS Secretary General. Came out and say when he came out, say what was part of when Reuben White asking when the incident occurred at the port where the president was killed, and he came out to say that was part of ECOWAS plan. The next day, when the busing up, he said that was a slip of tongue. So let's see here. Let's settle this once and for all. Do you think it was a slip of tongue by the president?
About what?
To say that education is not important.
To do for what?
Oh.
For the presidency, or not important.
Okay, I agree for the presidency. Education is not important.
No.
Do you agree?
I still disagree with that.
But I want to hear Pasaulo.
I'm going to answer. Yeah. It's not important for the presidency.
Wow. Okay.
Let's leave it up for another day. Let's go on with this opposition.
It's not important for the presidency. You can have.
So why did the president, after losing 2005, went to get his master's degree to come out and run because he was criticized?
You wanted to get it.
No, he was criticized for that.
That's what you think, that's right?
That's not what I think. I was in Liberia when he was criticized for it.
Okay, but that's not why he went to get his degree.
Did you listen to President? We have 2011 campaign.
Always wanted to get his degree.
PDC paraded with President. We have master degree around Monrovia that night. We were all there and said he's better now to be president because he's educated.
That campaign statement that people.
Okay, guys, you know what?
President was the convoy.
Let me explain this to you.
Let's find a different point on
this. President, we are inability to get education at the time you got it or I got it was a result of a government that failed its citizens.
I don't disagree, Pasaulo. That's true.
At the appropriate time,
gentlemen, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. That was not part of there was something that he said here. Let's get back on base here. You were talking about the opposition. Can you go back to that?
My discussion about the question you put to me. I didn't finish my comment because I was moving. I'll talk about Vice President Boyka. I didn't get down to the other non-entity called Cummings. You see, when we look at the person like Alexander Cummings, Alexander Cummings is the poster child of why some Liberians oppose U.S. citizenship. But this man will have the audacity to say he can run to be president of Liberia. I think it's insulting to the people of Liberia. This man had a numerous opportunities, given his wealth, given his position in society, in corporate America, to have helped his country. That young man, Leo there, he's operating as what? Empowerment Square. He's involved in taking the library to Liberia. He's involved in different activities. When Cummings was at his prime, Liberia was an afterthought for him. Now, what do you want? A retirement job? No, we're not going to retire him in Liberia as president.
So what does dual citizenship has to do with that? He's a Liberian citizen.
What the Liberians are saying?
No.
Let me get dual citizenship to these people. Then, for example,
well, he is a citizen. He's not looking for dual citizenship.
No, Leo, wait. What judge we are
of Liberia? Yeah, who is the citizen of Liberia? Not looking for
citizen of America.
There's no evidence to that. That's not true. Where's the evidence?
What the judge we are do with the millions of dollars that he made in France? What was the investment he did in
Liberia? You want to go ask him?
No. You talking about Cummings? No, I'm asking you. You talking about
ask him?
No. You
okay.
Cummings. So that
okay, let's do it. Let's see Mr. Gomian have to leave. Mr. Gomian, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I told you, power struggle is everywhere, even in the media industry, the commentators, analysts, everybody tries to be on the right side of history. Put some on the hair before you leave for us here.
Yeah, no, I'm about to leave, gentlemen. I hope to stay longer time next week. My only problem, I wanted to ask Professor Zaglo to just tell me a little bit of what.
Now you're about to leave. You want to dig up something?
Maybe for next time. Yeah, because he said CDC is the grassroots organization.
Next time, don't ask that question.
Okay. All right, then let me leave it at that. I will ask the professor next time we meet. Because I really want to know. But like we're saying, like I said earlier, the opposition needs to do something better. And let me just say that if the opposition does not put their act together, I think we're going to see another term of WIA. That's all I have to say. They need to do that. Because WIA is going around now. You know, like we do not have a sophisticated vote electorate. Okay? Any little thing can make them happy. And you see, we are going around breaking ground. Like Professor Zalo said, maybe in the next 2 years, he will start trying to pave the road to Saglepier or do all the other thing. And people will be like, oh, what we are doing. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. So the opposition needs to put good plan together and come up with something that will convince the Liberian people. And like I said, Leo, I mean, what I said was that our citizen school training we're talking about is something that I'm looking seriously to try to put together for Liberia, because we need that.
That might help your campaign the next time.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So, gentlemen, we have like 10 minutes to go here. Let's see. You know, there are a couple of things. I think we need to have some fascinating conversation here. Mr. George Shift Blaine, the election commission is not an enforcer. So now there are other branches of government that are responsible. The first branch of government, what are they doing? Are we waiting? Shouldn't we be discussing this sort of thing, this elapses in the election process and all of that? Or are we waiting on the eve of election again and everybody start crying like a little town cry here? But let's get our final comment here quickly here. So, Amos George,
yeah,
who's going to really be on top of this side, the CPP or the opposition? Who do they need to bring in? Should they say, okay, we start this sort of the elaborations of our cause, we should be inside, or they need to go outside of the beltway to bring in people, or we who fight for it, we need to get it?
No, I don't think they will bring anybody from outside. That I can assure you, they will not bring anybody from outside to come ahead. I think they won't do that. It will come from the inside. But what I continue to say, Mr. So, is that we should ask this board the tough question. We have reached a point that people will not just come and tell anything and will buy into it. We need to continue to ask these questions, because this is a mistake that we have made in the past, and it is haunting us. So it is not time for any Liberian to sit back and say, oh, that the people think. No, we must ask these people the tough question, what they want to do and how they want to achieve what they're saying to the Liberian people. Okay, and the point that I'm trying to make here is not that I'm not holding political parties or leaders responsible. What I'm saying, the election commission is charged with the responsibility of enforcing the law. Normally, a human being, by our nature, we tend to dodge everything. We try to evade laws, and if the people who there are not there to put us in check, we'll get away with it. That's just man nature. And the final thing is, CDC never won 40% of the vote. With all the masses they talk about, never. This going election, they got 35% of the vote. They had to get in collaboration to win that presidency. So the masses they talk about, I want to see.
So lastly, before I go to the proliferations of these political parties, who do you think potentially are going to benefit?
Well, if it were like here, then I would definitely take that.
No, we're not here. I said there.
Oh no, Mr. So, this thing would have to play off.
Okay.
Massive political.
You don't want to put your hair on the chopping board. Anything
some
can
of these
happen.
people, Mr. So, some people don't have control over the member. People just organize this group to get job tomorrow when there's a government. They say, our head of the political party. That's it.
Seeking some sort of political attention and political relevance at the end of the day to be directors and ministers. Because they don't even. So it's going to come back to the point of the standard set for electoral process and all of that. So Leo, quickly here before we go, who should this opposition put forward? Empire Joy said it, and people saying it, but people don't like to hear the truth. In as much we have this sort of a problem, the CDC with government way of operating, XYZ, tons of stuff. But if the opposition herself fail to organize herself, anything can happen. There's nothing stagnant in the game of politics. Who should the opposition be considering to put at the top of the TK if they are to get the vote of the Liberian people? I don't even trust the Liberian electors anyway. Anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I must tell anybody, you can say all you want to say about CDC. I mean, it's not normal because they are the government, right? It's normal. So we would throw everything, we would scrutinize it 3 times more because they are the government. But it's going to be a tough uphill climb for any opposition, regardless of how many collaboration you put together to beat George Weah. Number one, I can tell you today, there is no other Liberian that walked the face of planet Earth that is as endeared to the Liberian people than George Manneh Weah. Accept it or leave it, that is the fact. Because in George Manneh Weah, the masses of the largest sector of our population can connect, can relate.
Yeah, but
can see something.
The campaign must have right. I think they not prove that.
Yeah, that is what you were saying. Let's wait when 2023 come, and you think because Darius they don't want him also rather counted, that mean will automatically translate to another candidate. Yeah, let me make the point. The fact that Darius Zelon won, Bapolu won, because that will not automatically translate to a presidential candidate. The people that voted for those people may not necessarily vote for Joseph Boakai or Alexander Cummings either. That is not an automatic equivalent. So let's not do that. All I will say to the opposition is whoever they're going to put up, whether it's Cummings, right now it looks like Boakai stands very strong in the CPP based on everything we've been seeing, how things are going. Whether it's Cummings or Boakai, they will do themselves a huge favor by putting on that person right now in the next 2 to 3 months, so that whatever the Liberian people can throw at that person, they can throw it at them so they can figure out if they're able to withstand the CDC chest in terms of what will happen in.
If I may add, at least it will give them enough room to heal.
That is my point. They will have enough time. They will have enough time to see all of their challenges that will be laying ahead of them. Because once the opposition come up with
because and that's a key point, because Cummings and the ANC failure to also settle the deal in Nima County, probably that is one of the factors that led the defeat of Ide Gonglowe. Let me go to Professor Ase Se Labot Zawlo, senior contributor here. Professor, this is the gapping point here. I talked to a close insider with the NPP. This one of the critical aspects we are looking at now, the possibility of the current vice president, Chief Dr. Joe Howard Taylor, of her remaining on the ticket, getting her maybe not being on the ticket. Where is this risk? Is it important for us to talk about that?
No.
Tell me how.
Absolutely not. We respect Vice President Joe Howard Taylor. We love to have her on the ticket. But I think it's her prerogative to decide to stay and remain on the ticket or to leave. Either way, we remain strong. If she decides to leave, we'll fill up that slot with a president that Liberian people will be proud of. If she remains, I think we'll all work together to achieve the things that we set to achieve in the beginning. And so I think the onus is on her to make the right determination. Yeah. To make the right determination.
Is the authority or the elite within the CDC, are they doing everything possible to get that coalition, to stick together?
There's nothing but utmost respect for Madam Howard Taylor. I think we respect her as a vice president and the vice tenor bearer of our coalition. Nothing has changed from the time we got together.
I'm hearing here, and I don't know because nobody yet to verify that.
You hearing that want to carry Lee as our vice presidential candidate?
No, Leah don't want to get in that mess. Leah get a lot of do. I'm hearing if the vice president is not, I'm just saying only if. I wouldn't know. We're going to wait and see. The CDC is more likely thinking about pivoting towards Nima County.
Maybe I could be lucky.
Are that conversation going on?
Maybe I could be lucky then.
We'll be blessed here, because if we don't have people, the LPR will be blessed.
LPR will have a VIP access.
Thanks for that news. You see, I'm blessed. I happen to come from my dad comes from Nima County. My mom is from Southtown area, and I'm from Magibi. So I can flip to any one of them. So if you're gonna be training with Nima, then I started to celebrate and assert my Nima-ness.
Is conversation ongoing, or it doesn't even matter to the party, but because the relationship still is it fine?
Yeah, we have a very fine, hard-working vice president. The vice president.
While sometimes the vice president can proxy the affairs of the president. For example, for inauguration, why the president is not dedicating some other extra responsibilities to the vice president?
He's alive and active. He's a former athlete, strong man.
That is the real old card that got packed. That's the old card that got packed. That's the old card.
He can do it. So I don't see why he should delegate responsibility that he can do. Liberian elected him to perform. They didn't elect him to delegate responsibility to another person. The vice president performing her responsibility. She's the president of the Senate, and she has been doing it. She's been delivering winning votes for the coalition. She's been doing everything possible to make sure the coalition agenda is,
the vice president just refused to put your candidate in Bonkante, and that cost you the Bonkante senatorial seat.
Right. She has been delivering votes also. It doesn't mean that Leo, because she has voted.
You're not being factual to us.
No, listen to me.
The vice president said that on many occasions, ministers have insulted her.
Yeah.
Yes, in your government.
Yeah.
So you can't come here to say that you respect her.
No, so
the minister have insulted her before. She said that
under Liberian laws, there's free speech.
Free speech was free speech.
So in something about
let me say to you.
No.
If you feel that if somebody defames you,
trying to rewrite a history here.
No, if somebody defames you,
some of this language they defend it as these guys, some of the talk shows, commentators they are using it. Is that one out of free speech?
Oh, but you know what free speech is about?
No.
Exactly.
Why are you complaining?
I remember last week, Professor Zawo said that's okay. People can come and say whatever they want to say, that they're free speech.
But here's the thing. If you make an allegation against me that will affect my business, my name, I have all right to file a case against you for defamation. So if the vice presidency that's been happening, she has the right to go to the court.
No, Professor Zawo, you, Professor Zawo, you're talking about government.
Yeah.
You don't expect government official to be insulting another government official.
I don't want that to happen.
Okay, so don't say it's free speech.
I'm not supporting it. No. Listen to me now. I don't want it to happen, but only the free speech clause of our constitution is allowed.
It's allowed. Okay. Gentlemen, time has come with us here this evening.
I will advise them to do so, but it's allowed in our constitution.
But then why citizen make noise about someone insulting the president?
Oh, that's their business. I don't make noise about it. I have stopped.
So you complain. Let me tell
you what I've done. I have caused Facebook to block some accounts.
You have
the president in the wrong way.
The president. And today you're saying no, you don't complain. You have complained on this platform here.
About Yeke?
Yes.
No, I haven't complained about Yeke. I said that his language. His language is his message. But he's under the free speech law to Liberia. He's entitled to his opinion. He's entitled to use whatever words you want to use. And the people who use those words against have the right to challenge his assertions in court.
Let me say this.
Okay. So
everybody has the right to say, but I frown on people who insult women. Okay? Because I have girl children. So I frown on people, whether it's free shit, I frown on people who insult women. That's my point. That's my pride.
I frown on people who insult at all. I frown on people who insult men, women, babies, everyone. I frown on them.
Well, there's a demonstration here.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the deal here. This is quite fascinating here. The art of free speech, but I think there's a limitation because when you try, in the process of you gaining your free speech, if it's infringe on another person, then that of course that's a different thing here.
Let me say this to you. When you go and say the president ugly a baboon, there's no prosecution you can suffer for that. It's allowed under free speech laws. When you go and say the president is stealing the government money, the president has a right to file a defamation lawsuit against you. That's not a criminal thing.
That's when those words are coming from those are not under the skin of the president.
Those are not what they're saying.
It gets under the skin of the president when people are saying the president is cheating. Does it get under the skin of the president?
Huh? They are using profanity. They're not saying president.
I'm not under his skin.
They're using profanity.
I'm not under his skin, Mr. So I'm not under his skin.
Well, what are you hearing? You are an insider. What are you hearing? So what are some of the discussions unfolding with
that man played before a hostile crowd of over 100,000 people at stadiums across the world. He was able to perform his craft. He didn't let it destroy him. So he's used to this kind of thing. He used to operating in a hostile environment. So that thing can move him.
Does he listen to those things?
No. This man's an athlete who goes into the opposition ground and make them to insulting the whole team. At the end of the day, because he scored.
Mr. So,
What you thought about that?
One time the president said that someone was insulting his mother.
Yeah.
He said that. That means it hurts him.
So does it mean?
And I can't say it doesn't hurt him. It hurts him.
So is that what validated? Does that mean the president validated these people's arguments? I mean, he's a human being. He's also.
It hurts him. I said it before.
Which argument?
No, I'm asking. He said because the president mentioned that. So my question here is, the president, and I think that's where it comes from. And that's kind of a little bit kind of like
president has said.
No, I come in, Professor. You explain on one of those videos I get in, but I can't bring it here. When he was making indirect reference to Prophet Key. Yeah. So I'm wondering here, before the president mount the microphone, can it be some inside conversation, because there are things you're supposed to say, there are things you're supposed to pull out there, because you are the world, the leader, the country is looking up to you.
What did he say?
Yeah, he said a guy who called himself prophet can be insulted. I see that as one of the biggest administrative errors. I'm coming, Professor, I'm coming. Because the reason why he did that, you are the president. If you can go down as to that level, you already validate that person's talking point. Go ahead.
No, so is that all he said? The guy who they call Prophet Key be insulting my
he's insulting people.
Mr. Zaolo, Professor Zaolo is the first person I've heard who knows President Weah that doesn't say that President Weah takes personal insults, whether to his mother, were very personal. Now, that is not a problem for me. There are certain people who cannot tolerate that stuff. And I think it is wrong for people to start out to hold their insult the president, mother, and all that kind of stuff. I think it is blatantly wrong. I care less what position you are, whatever you think you are. And nobody can tell me, say, you don't feel it. All the leaders that insult in the world, the fact that they don't mention it does not mean it doesn't affect them. They only have the discipline and the tenacity to not allow it to get under their skin.
That's a valid point.
This man played on hostile stadium all across the world. Where people
so Leo, that's a valid point here.
Talking about he did complain about it.
Yeah, let me remind Professor Zaola that it was in the church where allegedly who missed out on his second Ballon d'Or for hair butting somebody who insulted him on the same field that you say he played all in hostile stadium. Do you remember that?
Yeah. But you remember that? What I tell you. But that's
so the president has a temperament that many people around him say can be serious. That's not a problem.
Okay. There's a downside to this whole thing here, and that is absurd. It is ridiculous. And this is what I found so difficult with the oppositions and even the ruling establishment. Their inability to effectively communicate. They have good people that have this outlet. You know, you have to be strategic. It's all about getting the numbers, and that number is the electorate. If you are sedition, why should you waste your time on sedition platform? Go to the opposition. If you are opposition, why should you call these people turning as sedition? Your message should be on point. What you have for the future, what you believe what you believe in, those political ideologies of your party or your political. But
I think this is the biggest shortcoming of the entire government. They spend so much time on trying to counter everything the opposition has to say that even some of the things that look, let me tell you today, I think President Weah has done a few things for me. Their whole dual citizenship conversation that's going on for Liberians who have other citizenship. President Weah is the first president in my lifetime that government has elevated this conversation to a place where there is some level of seriousness about what should be done about it. Madam Sadi, she had it for a long time. She didn't even bring it to the fore to begin with, even though she was aware that it affected a lot of Liberians. But they're not focusing on all these things of the government.
Let me throw this out there.
It doesn't matter. The fact that the conversation is on the table and we are debating it, that's a success.
He did not do anything.
No, I disagree with you on that.
Okay, hold on, guys. Let me throw it
against it, deal.
Okay, let me throw this red meat out here.
The education was not there. That's why.
So let me throw this red meat out here. I'm finding it very, very difficult. The tone, the language, the communication team, both the opposition and the government, it is absurd. They don't even know when to be on point. They have to kill the message of their political leaders. They don't know when to be strategic. See what happened recently with even when the president was taking his third tour. That should be the eye-catchings of the media industry. And you saw Nathaniel McGee coming out with his Darius Dillon's same drones and all of that.
They were chasing more Ali issue.
Yeah. So it looked like the opposition too said, you know what, we will get on these guys' skin. And Eugene, I come in, Professor, you're to do. Because when the president is traveling, that should be, they must augment their communication skill so that it will go viral. But then you have Eugene Fagon on his other end. I think when he's doing his facts and fiction, it should focus on the missions of the president. But when you start going at Darius Dillon, who said this, who said that, that's a complete distraction. Professor, the people that promised before that we're going to work on their communication, and that's not just only the government. The opposition does that. They have multiple people speaking for them. I anticipate by this time they should have an envoy, if they really mean business, to meet with these governors, congressmen, and all of that, to make them important that they are, seeking state power. But they have a lot of careless and reckless talker, and the chair these people are as well. But unfortunately, that's the situation we find yourself in. Will you guys straighten your messaging system?
I agree. And sometimes people come here and they come up with these allegations that I just blindly support the CDC or blindly support the government. I agree there is a messaging problem. There's a problem with the government messaging apparatus, and I believe it needs to be fixed. I'll give you one story. On Thursday, I did an interview with a local newspaper, a local magazine in the Arlington, Virginia area. A group of my students, the National Honor Society at the high school where I work, is doing a fundraising for my school in Liberia. So I did an interview on Thursday. The reporter had a choice of putting the story up on Monday or Friday. And guess what he told me? He said, Isaac, I'm going to work hard to put the story up on Friday because these kids were doing a GoFundMe fundraiser. He said, I'm going to work hard to put the story on Friday. But guess what? People are going to be getting home on the Friday evening, and they're going to be home on the weekend from Friday all the way to Sunday. They are home. That's the best time for them to get this particular news about this work so they'll be able to contribute. Mind you, within 24 hours, $3,000 was raised. Strategic placement of information.
So is that what your government doing?
That's what they're not doing. And that's what I'm trying to say to you. I agree with you. Okay. While the president is on his trip,
but the opposition does the same thing.
The issue of Mo Ali, the issue of some of the government officials appearing on Spoon TV, all of those things take away from it. And those are things we are saying. Some of us are saying it. We are calling for people to change. That's not the right way to do.
Especially the Minister of State for President.
Yes, the problem that some of us have is that, you guys are in America. You think everything that happens in America is the right way. But we are speaking about some of these things. It's just inappropriate. When the president is going to make this trip, the focus should be on the president.
On the president trip.
Yeah.
Mr. So always talk about throwing red meat. That's the time you throw a red meat to see whether the opposition will go and grab it. And then let me tell you one thing. Let me give you one secret about me. I do not post on anybody's page. There was a time when I saw there was a lot of distracting things about government. I go and throw a bomb, and I would get like 300, 400, 500 people coming on my page, and then it would spread and go around. When I check it all around, I'm seeing the argument those people are presenting before has been diluted. They are focusing on what I'm saying. Maybe I used to put George Weah as a Messiah. And then everybody's going to come there. So you got to understand their strategies in the way you get information.
Are they concerned, the way you are so concerned, Professor, are they concerned about that? Are they concerned? Are they working on that? Because there was a communication before, and the executive mansion, so the government did realize that their communication skill was terrible, the messaging aspect. And they said something was going to happen, but I'm not sure whether that has happened. Let me recognize our dear brothers and friends from our sister network, Spoon TV, Chairman Ben Servit and Kev. People sometimes when they talk, most of the time, I say, move Kev for on Spoon. I'm like, What wrong with these people here? He's a guy that knows how to get on the skin of the opposition as well. You know, it reminds me, Hassan. It reminds me of KBK, the late Kekura Boto, because that when he read it, said, Mr. President, you have already won the election. And if you watch the channels, televisions in Nigeria, and so one of the opposition, he and the government guy, the communications director of the government, spokesperson Oneikeh, he said, look, I'm here to demonize you. I'm here to reconstruct whatever you are doing. And so that's exactly what they are doing. So the ordinary follower or supporters, come on, the main identity is established as, for the government. So do you think he's going to can't change his tone because he wants to appease people? That's not it. But the opposition to also have the messaging aspect. It's terrible.
It's so already the opposition, they do not have any strategy right now. Everybody is still.
So when will we see that strategy? With France on the government not having a strategy.
But I don't think they don't have it now. They don't have it. That's why I say everybody just scrumming around. Yeah, it's the problem.
Then how can you take this serious?
No, Mr. So yeah, it's the problem. Right now, there is no stand-up bureau of that CPP. So you will not have.
So, but then yeah, I understand.
You will not have a cohesive message coming from them. No, there will be no. Everybody is trying to grab something. This is what happened. Until when they have a stand-up bureau, then you see, then we can start saying now, okay, what is the message for the people? But come is trying to grab something. Waka is trying to grab something.
Professor,
you see people.
Professor, do you agree with that? They don't have a stand-up bureau. So then the question becomes, what were the terms and conditions before even becoming a collaboration? You must have a communication team that person will speak for that group of body being put together. You don't have to be.
But that's not a problem. The problem is, Leo says some things, and I plan to talk to Leo. I haven't called him, but Leo says some things that, yeah, fine. I just can't say it. It's not about.
You want to bring him over to the CDC?
No, not necessarily. But the point, let me just make one clear point. The point, Leo is very critical of the actors, and that's where the problem is. The problem is not just one side; it's all over the place.
No, it's not one side. Nobody can say that.
So the reason why the opposition messaging is not going up is because just as the government has problem with this messaging, opposition also has problem with messaging.
That's what I'm saying.
1 minute, yeah.
No, but why you are saying here, Mr. George, you are giving justification because they are not
So let me just say this. Let me just say this. With my challenge with Pat George,
Mr. Boakai, Ambassador Boakai, you saw his interview the last time. He said he's the best person to lead the country.
That thing, it was so ridiculous. It was absurd. That's to suggest that he does not even. He, as a former vice president,
that was his word. He said he's the best person.
He was not looking presidential. So there was no Liberian flair. His communication team. I mean, when you come, you have to be prepared. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me tell you, Pat George, what my problem is with you.
Ambassador Boakai is pitching to a particular constituency.
Let me see here. We got taken away. We did not put a number. Or let me just take the call here quick here. Okay, let me take the call there. I'll come to you, Leo, please. Oh, hold on 1 second. Call out. We'll come to you. Let me just do a quick connection here. Call out. Good evening. What's your name?
Oh, yes. I'm Terry Lion Yakon calling from Fargo, North Dakota.
Oh, that is Lion? Are you about to butcher? You want to butcher anybody all here?
Yes. Actually, the program is very, very, I'm interested in the program, and I've been following you. Actually, but the professor have done well. The professor have laid out everything. Some of the lapses, flux in the CDC-led government. I'm not a professor, very patriotic, I'm saying, professor who immensely contributing to society. I met the professor once. We are founding members of the Concerned Liberians group, and I think I sat on the table with him when we were in Maryland somewhere. We had a program, but the professor explicitly, explained everything about the government, where the government falls short, and everywhere. So the professor have done well. So the CDC government is strong, and the opposition, like the Bwaka, you know what I'm saying, they are deceptive people because I guess are urging the people of the West to stop supporting people that Bwaka because Bwaka is extremely deceptive in man. And for communists, when he did his corporate life, you know, when he was working, he have not contributed anything to the Liberian society. The professor was not trying to
so hold on here. Anybody calling on this network to you are being held responsible. Is that enough argument for us or Liberia? I'm a free thinker. Call me whatever you were doing. I understand. I come in.
What I'm trying to say is that the cartel have born a new baby, which is the new political party. But the question is to Leo, a tough.
Which is the cartel? The version of the Eugene Fagon type of cartel, or which kind of cartel are you talking about?
No, well, it derives from there. At least Eugene Fagon have educated us about the cartel. But I want to believe that new political party might emerge with communists, in front. But I want to believe that they brought that new political party to emerge with one of those, opposition,
so before
communists or one of them to support them in front. But Bwaka, I don't think he's fit for any other position for president or vice president. He may entertain to be a campaign board. That's what I want to believe. So, but what I'm saying is that when it comes to vice presidential position, you fit enough to be a president or a vice president. You have been working and you contributing to the young people of the society. Flattering the professor is what the professor have been doing. As a seditious who speak from North Dakota, these are people that
are you one of the seditious? If I may ask,
what they are doing.
If I may ask, are you one of the seditious?
Oh, well, I'm a full-blooded seditious and strong supporter of the president.
Okay, and that's a good thing.
I always I support the president and anybody within North Dakota.
Okay, yeah, all right.
So, what happened is that the president came out with a government of inclusion, but expected those opposition who were invited in the government.
So
instead of them playing a part, but they have to sabotage the government.
Okay.
So as a result, the professor also told you about we encounter natural disaster, so issues about nature.
Okay. So
some of the government, Indian government, who was to help the government, Bali Island and other projects, but they themselves, because of the COVID-19, all these things have been one of the major problems.
We are.
The government is very much committed, and we will really meet up with all what we promised.
Okay.
People.
So let me ask you here before you go. This name here, Teddy Lion, what? Yankun?
Yeah, Yankun. I'm from Grand Creek County.
Okay, Grand Creek County.
Sando County. I'm the grandson of David Basel Sapi from Sando.
Okay,
that's my mom's father.
I see.
But my father is William Julata Yankun, the former paymaster for the MCSS for many years.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I see solidarity here. Where you come from? I see the flipping of these two middle names here because I heard Donald Trump saying Lion Tear, and I see Tear Lions.
Tear means if you write from the name Julata, it means the end, the one who end the end.
Okay.
Yeah, the similar name of the president's mother, Jagere.
Oh, okay. I thought you were
something. Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were referring to Donald Trump because you were calling.
Well, the lion is just the lion is actually my political name. It's my nickname.
Oh, okay.
My name is Teddy Tear Yankun.
Okay.
Teddy Tear Lion Yankun is a name that was given to me by the Native American lady in the United States. She said, I'm a lion, look like a lion, and think like a lion.
Okay,
so
thank you so much.
Call me the lion.
All right, the lion. Thank you for your contribution. Yes. All right, bye.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think the professor got a big win on this 1 year political tail lions. He's now making his choice as the VP. Okay, Leo, carry on before we go.
Just very, very, very quickly, as I was saying to Pat George, again, for me, I like to focus on standards and the issues. We can say we hear on one hand the opposition bashes the CDC government for all of the things that they say the CDC government does wrong. And we see all the opposition political parties operate under the same mantra as we see the CDC operate as well. You go to the opposition political party, they sing Amanda, Amanda away too. You go to the opposition political party, they call young people militants. We go to the CDC, we see the exact same thing there. So my thing is to everybody that somebody has to elevate. If you say what the CDC is doing is not right, it's not the right way to go, there's a better way, then be the example of what that better way is to go. For example, like I keep saying it over and over, go to the opposition political party. When last have you heard the opposition political party is making a report of their finances and their progress report to their membership? We've never seen that. You criticize the city government for transparency. Where is your transparency? Let me tell you something today. Everybody is overlooking this. No president in the political history of our country has received the type of in-depth attachment to our people than President George Weah. And I will tell you today, hoping the opposition, hoping that the Liberian people will just suffer more, then they will not vote for George Weah. Suffering a normal day in Liberia, it does not scare Liberians. My entire life, suffering a normal day for us, people like myself. So you can't scare Liberians with suffering. If the opposition cannot give the Liberian people a clear mandate that separates them from the CDC-led government, the Liberian people will tell you, say, we'd rather stay with the devil that we know than the angel that we don't know. President Weah will win a second term. So until the opposition can show us what makes them different from President Weah, and I'm giving it time because let's be honest, they're still selecting their leaders or whatever that is, but I'm yet to actually see, if I close my eyes, how can I separate CDC from the opposition? Other than saying the exact same thing. So until I can hear a sharper argument, but also see the plan to back it up. Don't tell me, say you will come to obey rules and bring electricity and improve education. Show me the budget. Show me where the money will come from. Show me how you will raise the money and let me be able to assess it. So I would balance this argument by saying beating George Weah is no easy feat for anybody. I care less who you are and where you come from. Madam Salif, former President Salif, struggled to beat President Weah twice. Struggle, and I'm saying struggle by the skin of the teeth. We all know that. So good luck to the opposition by thinking that because Liberian people will suffer a lot, so they will just vote. Suffering at normal time in Liberia, Liberian people will not vote out President Weah because of suffering. The Liberian people will vote out President Weah because they see a better option that has clearly demonstrated to them that they can give them better than President Weah.
So Leo, quickly here, do they have that political tolerance to see that for us to see them to exhibit that? The opposition, let's make that forecast here a little bit.
No, I would say no. The level of arrogance that we've seen from surrogates of the opposition, they will need to calm down. The level of arrogance that we've seen, because the one line that they told every day is that George Weah is a rogue, George Weah is Steve, George Weah is a criminal, George Weah is this.
So this is the point of reference now, bringing Professor here. Okay, yeah, I'm concerned how the president came to a mouth, well, building this and that. But that's the abstract. There's an abstract aspect and there's a concrete aspect here. But nobody yet to come up with something tangible to validate their argument, but to put this out there too, and it seems to be playing out with the Liberian people. Now the question becomes, is the CDC, are they equipped, sophisticated, equipped enough to defend this position too? I don't see that coming.
That's why I would say this, and maybe Professor Zaulo, you can say what you want to say about that. Let me tell you something. People forget. George Weah is one of the few presidents in the history of Liberia that did not need to promise the Liberian people anything for them to vote him into power. Number one, not many Liberians that walk the face of this earth can say that. Number two, I will tell you this today. Listen, so I am not interested of how many duplexes George Weah has built.
Why?
I'm not interested. Let me tell you why. You know why? I am interested because George Weah is president. George Weah has the authority to do what his government does right now.
That is
Let me tell you why. George, please hold on. Let me tell you why I'm not interested. I am more interested in the people who telling me say that they are the watchdogs for George Weah doing bad to show me how they can do better. Some of them were just here not too long ago, and we had this same corruption scandal. Look, coming to tell me say the rogue is breaking my house. Coming to tell me say the thief now put fire on my house. but you extending your hands for the hand. You see that rope? I told you that rope will burn your house down, the rope burning your house down. Instead of you telling me, say, I know when
He there witnessing the incident.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, meaning he's already he a collaborator.
So you're hoping that my house should burn down to the ground just so I can choose you, even though you've shown me nothing to say, you know what? I got a fire truck. I can help you put out the fire, or I know a fire service. Let me show you a different plan to stop the road from coming back to your house. That is what, for me, the opposition is doing. Your point about, oh, George, we have flaws, but you're not telling me what you've got to offer yet.
Okay, there's one play within the core heart of the professor. So the professor now is chilling out. We look at Leo putting some ice on his chest here. So, Pajoy.
Yeah.
I know you're in the middle of something else, and we are wrapping all here. You say you disagree with Leo. Why?
On some of the things he's talking about. Let me say this. Accountability is a hallmark of any system, any good governance. And if someone gets to in power and they start accumulating wealth overnight, and you say you don't care because the other people they're not just talking about it and don't tell you how to weigh out, I disagree with that premise. Accountability is the hallmark of every system. George Weah said, they said that the alien government was corrupt. This is the same argument they made, that the alien government was corrupt and they were coming to make things different. 6 months, massive wealth start going up.
Allegedly.
I'm not saying allegedly, it's there. I'm not saying allegedly.
How do you know you got to? How do you know you got to?
It's acquired by George Weah.
Where's the evidence?
George Weah, Professor.
Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence?
Smith told me the president admitted.
What's the evidence?
But the senator is inassistent to that. So how will we?
Where's the evidence?
When I'm giving someone this Smith told it. The president.
Smith told it is not. You want to say it is for the president? Where's the evidence that I stole money?
So you explain that when Smith was
hold on one second. Let us not be selective.
That's a question.
Pajoy, let us not be selective. You believe in Smith to be here, but the last time when Smith to be came up with something against, we said Smith to be lying. So
hold on now.
We'll be selective.
No, I'm not being selective. I will not be selective. I'm saying, person, we are acquired this work within less than 2 years.
Allegedly.
To the presidency.
Allegedly.
Hold on. And if you were preaching this message of being corrupt person, in the 6 months you got into power, all this guy, the building going up.
Okay, so
that is something troubling. If someone don't worry people for me, it worry me because I believe in accountability. The opposition have said it. The opposition has to come up with a message to distinguish themselves from that of President Weah. No government, you will come to run against government and you cannot discriminate yourself from that government. You will not get the power. You have to set aside. You have to separate yourself from that government.
All right. So let me let Professor respond before
and this issue of President Weah being this darling ball, everything is right. People will vote according to Leo. People will vote no matter whether they're suffering or not. But I'm concerned with the security of people. We have seen extrajudicial killing in Liberia, and if that is not something to worry somebody to say, "Oh, all those things, forget it." The president, we love him. I don't care what somebody.
Well, gentlemen,
for me,
George, thank you so much. Professor, respond before we go.
Leo did not make the argument about right or wrong. He wanted to talk about the man being charismatic. And
that's my point. I didn't say he was right.
You didn't say he was right or wrong.
Said Leo was.
You did not, but you mentioning things about extrajudicial killings and this other. He didn't, but that's not Leo's point. And one of those things happened abroad. Look, but here's the point, Pap George.
Let you respond with that last comment. We gotta go. All right.
Mr. George, look, it's like the situation, George. What Leo is talking about, George. We are, some of us had to come to reality with that when it came to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And no matter what Ellen does, she was a darling of the West. There's no way you could change the West's opinion about her. So even though locally she was very unpopular, internationally she was very popular. It's the same situation. It's the opposite thing that operated with George Weah. George Weah might be the most unpopular person internationally to be president of Liberia. But locally, he enjoys the respect of the Liberian people. And what Leo is saying, which I agree with, the opposition has not shown anything of that to make me believe that it will be better than what they were before. Now, Unity Party, they were in power for 12 years. 12 years. 12 years. Vice President Bucker was vice president for 12 years. Prior to that, he was agriculture minister. Leo will agree with me. One of the weakest link of our Liberian economy is agriculture, right? This man headed the Ministry of Agriculture and the LPNC.
4 times.
Institutions associated with agriculture. And both of them are some of the weakest links.
Are you sending him to retirement?
He doesn't need, first of all, again, like I said, because of my friend Fatuma Keseli, there's a place I think we need to send Vice President Boycott. But because
you are like a piece of cloth when it comes to the Vice President. You are like a piece of cloth between the states on here. You don't want to go that way. You don't want to go that way. Okay, gentlemen.
That's how Vice President Barker. I mean, he was senior man.
Okay, so guys, we're going to leave it here.
The place I would love to see Vice President Barker, I can see it.
All right, guys, we gotta leave it here. The professor has made his point crystal clear. He like a piece of cloth between the scissors. He's thinking about how to put that scissor through the cloth, but then when he looks back and people say no, don't go there, that's the other person, then he pull the scissor off. Okay.
The man's son also, you know, I have a little connection with his son. His son attended my school in Danane, La Côte d'Ivoire. When I had my computer school, his son went to it. He was a nice student. In fact, he was in a class with the.
So I see the core is around your neck. There's no way that we can do anything.
Yeah, so let me protect myself.
Okay, Joyce,
So you can't say the thing you're supposed to say. You protect yourself.
Right.
Yeah, I'm protecting myself. I protect the papi.
Mr. Joyce? Yeah, strictly 1 minute. Your closing remark before we go.
Let me say thank you to Leo, Professor Zawo, for coming back after he ran away from Samson Bakuto for.
Don't even talk about the Liberia. The Liberia is on the run.
Well, thank you to Mr. Leo and Professor Zawo and the veteran Gomia and you and the Liberian people. I think we had a wonderful discussion. And we should continue this thing here. We have to hold our leaders accountable. I don't care which side you fall, because that's the only way Liberia will move forward. Thank you.
All right. So, Leo.
Yes, sir.
What do you want to see happening?
And this is why I will first of all say to Liberians watching all over the place, I just want to remind you all, I know sometimes you guys get worked out when you see us argue like this. I've made it clear over and over. Some of us, CDC won. George Weah is our president. Will work with the CDC government in spite of the corruption, the difficulties, the challenges, and all the issues. Tomorrow, 2023, whoever wins when the election is over, whether it's CDC or the opposition, we have an obligation to figure out a way to still make Liberia workable, even if we disagree with the government of the day. So I want to, admonish Liberians listening, don't get yourself worked out. We are making the arguments and debate now so that we all can get these thought-provoking ideas in our heads so that we can sharpen the conversation to think better as to what we want for our country. But what I want to see happen is that Liberians should come together when elections are over. If the Liberian people get together and decide they want to elect a chicken, to make that chicken president to the presidency of Liberia, all can get together and pray that that chicken should fail. Some we're not able to get our people out of the country. So we need to find a way to make it work. The same way during the war, when things were lawless and whatever, we found a way because we realized that we didn't have a choice until the next election. When we not let the person, then the next election come, we kick them out. But if we decide to make the country unlivable, you know who suffer? President George Weah would never suffer. He has enough. He will never suffer, nor his top ministers. The ordinary masses will suffer.
Okay, so there you have it as President Leo Johnson of the Liberian community in Canada and Executive Director at Empowerment Square. Liberians, start getting your cholesterol and your high blood pressure over the roof. These politicians, they are just the same. When those guys finish, they're going to drink their cold beer and we come here, we talk, and then at the end of the day, put financial burden on us, go buy IV and ibuprofen, Tylenol, and all of that. Professor, make your last argument for your party that you so dearly love and defend here. What do they need to do in this injury time? I consider 2023 now we are like a football commentator. We are in an injury and strappy time, but they are not even realizing that. What do you think a party need to do now to settle the deal?
Recruit Mr. George. No, Look. I think the chairman of the party recently set up a strategic reform. I think restructuring committee or something like that. And so I think they are beginning to have the conversation that they need to have. I will be in Liberia in August, and I will spend some time with the key stakeholders, and we'll just share my own perspective on how I think what we need to do to move forward. I think Like I said, we're gonna watch. Let's keep watching what's gonna happen within the next few weeks. I think the president will be attending to some serious national issues, and once those issues are attended to, I think the Liberian people will regain. You will regain the confidence of the Liberian people, even though, like Leo indicated, he remains the single most popular Liberian.
Okay, well, he seems to be in line with Leo here this evening. Let's see what happens in the next coming days. And there's a two what are this sort of so-called.
I've never opposed Leo. I just
okay. All right, man. I want to thank you. I want to thank all of you.
Professor Saulo,
all right, guys. I want to thank all of you so much for your time by this evening, as usual, your expertise, and this is what we do here to make the informations and the conversation proportional as well. Professor Asese Labo is a senior contributor analyst of the Liberia Public Radio, also executive director of Gideon Polytechnic Schools in Liberia. Leo Johnson, Empowerment Square, and president Liberian Community Canada, and of course our man based in Atlanta, senior contributor Amos Joy. Patricia Zawlo said you were on his radar. Maybe you might go with him comes August to attend the CDC inside workout. So we're going to see what that happens.
I will help. He said when he run a representative for my give, I will help.
For CDC, then you will help when you're running for representative for CDC. Then you will help.
No, he said he will not run at CDC. He will not go on CDC.
I never told you that.
You never said that. He said, I asked him that question, but now you feel committee of helping. So when you come for CDC, make sure you help. Your word should be your word. Okay, guys.
He's trying to change it again. The last thing he said, you go as an independent.
All right, guys. Thank you so much and have a pleasant day.
All right,
All right, guys, that's how we're going to bring this discussion to an end. I'm Alfonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radios and LPR TV. To all our callers and those that I contributed here by tweet and even calling in your comments, we want to thank you so much for being part of here. But remember, whatever that is out there that was tweeted, it's not the view and opinions of the management and staff of the Liberia Public Radio, but we do facilitate this high-called conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your evening, your time with us. By God's willing, we're going to be back here. For the first time, we'll be speaking to some of the Liberians recently arrested by the Ivorian government. Hopefully, if it all goes well, they're going to be right here tomorrow. We will keep you posted to be hearing from them. The ordeal from the hands of the Ivorian authority. And we are hearing the government was massively involved behind the scene. So we're going to be speaking with some of them here tomorrow. It was actually today, but there was a miscommunication. Until then, folks, have a pleasant Sunday. Kev from our sister network, Spoon TV. Thank you for chilling with us here. And of course, to all our valuable listeners, it was a pleasure having you there. Have a pleasant evening and stay safe.
I just want to thank you. Thank you. I just want to thank you. Thank you.
This is LPR TV with Alfonso Ziensot, live from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. In today's discussion, we will highlight high-call issues from the motherland, Republic of Liberia, and issues affecting our community. Asking tough questions is vital to me to have my listeners and viewers informed with the sole purpose of demanding answers that are authentic and meant to be head-scratching situation. Oh yes, to add pageantry to the conversation, senior analysts and contributors of the Liberia Public Radio are here to dissect the conversation. From Baltimore, senior analyst Professor Asese Labo, CEO, Real Academy and Gideon's Polytechnic Academy in Liberia. Senior contributor Amos George is in Atlanta, Georgia. A critical thinker, and critics of the GOL, and opposition to LPR TV Foreign Affairs Analyst Leo Johnson's Executive Director, Empowerment Square, based in Canada, and President, Liberian Community in Canada. And on the radar is LPR TV, liberal, progressive, and hosts conversations with Sam St. Blockul Bronto in Studio B in Saxton, Sacramento, California, is also on the radar. And of course, the doyen, former state broadcaster at ELBC and ELWA, and former presidential aspirant, Republic of Liberia, James Gamian, is based in the Garden City of New Jersey, is here. I am your host and anchor, Tafonso Zienso, of the New England Bureau Desk of the Liberia Public Radio. Come, let's join the talking point, fair, balance, and objectives in keeping news proportional. Be my guest.
Every other guy was so conservative. I tried to film me. I tried every other guy, and he all let me down. They'll say I should give something for something. Nothing up on the sacrifice before they can bless me. But since I met you, you never asked me for a dime. You keep on showering your blessings.